Hello everyone, GCTV back with another video, mic check. We are back and we're going to be talking about a movie that I've been really wanting to see for quite some time. It is The Ring. It came out in 2002, which honestly, I had no idea it was that old of a movie. It's over 20 years old now. And man, this movie is, you guys see the thumbnail, this movie is not what I expected. Like, I didn't expect this movie to go this way at all. You know, when I see, like, these demonic horror movies, I get a bad feeling about them. But this movie is so critically acclaimed. So many people have praised it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to check it out. And, man, it actually has some substance to it for once. And, obviously, there's been other movies like Paranormal Activity that have kind of disappointed this type of movie in that regard, where there's not really any substance to it. It's all scares, it's all like stupid noises that don't scare you at all. This movie is genuinely pretty scary as well, while having some pretty good substance, and that makes for a great movie. That's where some of the greatest horror movies, Sinister, Seven, I guess you can call it a horror movie. Movies like that, that's where the great movies are. But let's get into the plot and the critical reception. I have a lot to say about this movie. I think this movie's great. So, teenage girls Katie and Becca discuss an urban legend about a cursed videotape that causes whoever watches it to perish in 7 days. When I was watching this, I didn't really get nightmares from it, but I thought I was going to, man. Like, it's very nightmare-inducing. If you're young, do not watch this movie, bro. Yeah, Katie confesses to Becca that she watched such a tape with her friends the previous weekend, literally a week ago, and we learn eventually that at 10 o'clock to the week, you die. So, that night, Katie is killed by an unseen force. Not sure why. Need some explaining, and, our main character is going to research that. So at Katie's funeral, Katie's mother Ruth asks her sister Rachel, played by the wonderful Naomi Watts, a Seattle-based journalist, to investigate her daughter's death. I think that's the only cast member I really know from this movie. Rachel discovers that Katie's friends were killed in bizarre accidents on the night of her death, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's just a coincidence." I mean, that's the only thing I will say I didn't like about this movie. I mean, obviously they have to include shit like that because people are probably like, if this happened in reality, why is my face so? I need to probably start closing my window when I make videos, because my goodness, the sun is glaring so bad. And I'm sorry it has to be this video, because maybe this creates like a horror vibe. I don't know. Do you guys like it? Probably not. But I'm honestly thinking about just turning my light on and seeing what that does. But we'll roll with it. She also learns that Becca has been institutionalized after witnessing Katie's death. So traumatized by this. I mean, it looked pretty bad when we saw it, Rachel goes to the Shelter Mountain Inn, the mountain retreat where Katie and her friends watched the tape, to kind of do some research and possibly try to find the tape. She rents the same room, Cabin 12, and watches the tape. It contains strange and frightening imagery. This is where we kind of see the tape for the first time. It's very weird. It's a very odd tape. After the tape ends, she receives a phone call from an unknown caller who whispers 7 days. And she realizes, like, this isn't a coincidence. Like, this is actually, like, a cursed tape. Bad things happen to people that watch the tape, and she realizes that. Rachel recruits the help of her video analyst ex-boyfriend Noah, which is kind of a beautiful thing, because the resolution of this story, well, it's not a great resolution for Noah, but they kind of rekindle their relationship, with this opportunity of them working together and getting closer with each other. He watches the tape, and Rachel makes him a copy so they can both investigate where it came from. When we find out later on that making a copy is quite important in surviving the curse. Rachel begins to see images from the tape appear in the real world, so things are she's maybe getting a little bit of deja vu. She's getting kind of freaked out by this. She discovers hidden imagery of a lighthouse and identifies a woman on the tape, a horse breeder, Anna Morgan, who killed herself after some of her horses drowned themselves off Moscow Island. She couldn't grieve. She was so passionate about her horses that, when they died, she just couldn't take it. Rachel finds her son Aiden, who is also Noah's son, watching the tape. So this is the kid they had when they were together, but obviously they broke up. So Aiden doesn't really have a dad. So he probably doesn't live the best life. But she catches him watching the tape, and she realizes, I'm probably going to lose my son in a week. Unless they, we'll find that out later. And by the way, this is a spoiler review. I should probably say that before every video, because some people are clicking on this thinking I'm actually giving them a recommendation, but this is pretty much a place where we discuss the movie. So yeah, leaving Aiden in Ruth's care. Ruth was that? Wait, who is Ruth? Katie's mother? Come on, she's dealing with a death and you're leaving her to I mean, I guess they're sisters, I think they were, yeah. Rachel heads for Moscow Island to speak to Anna's widower, Richard, while Noah travels to Eola Psychiatric Hospital to view Anna's medical files. So they kind of break off, and they kind of have a plan. They want to, research different aspects of Anna's life, try to figure out, get to the bottom of this. Why'd she kill herself? I mean, yeah, it might have been because her horses killed themselves, but there might be something deeper down, because there's no way you're killing yourself over an animal. I'm sorry, I don't care how much you like the animal. Yeah, I don't think so. On the ferry to the island, a horse is spooked by Rachel and leaps to his death. Again, kind of these mirror images of what she's seeing in the videotape, and this is probably a warning from this entity who we learn a little bit more about, that she's going to die here the next day. I think it was day 6 when this happened. On the island, she discovers Anna had an adopted girl, Samara, but Richard claims it is not true, and it actually is true. They just wanted to hide this from the world, apparently. So, yeah, they wanted to reject this, even though Anna always wanted to have a child. I don't know, it's very strange, very strange. Rachel speaks to the island physician, who explains that Anna adopted Samara due to her infertility, which, I mean, it isn't her actual kid. So she's kind of ashamed, I guess. Which I guess. I mean, she's ashamed because she can't actually have the child. Samara possessed the ability to physically etch images onto objects and into people's minds, tormenting her parents and their horses. And that is kind of where they had to get rid of her, I guess. Noah finds a psychiatric file on Samara which mentions a missing video record last seen by Richard. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure in another file, though, it said he, denied to see one of her therapy videos. I'm not sure, though. Returning to, or either that he denied it, going public or something. Returning to the Morgan home, Rachel finds the missing video, watching it to discover Samara explaining her powers during a therapy session. She just has these powers. She's a demonic child. She's the kid's name from The Omen, or something like that, you know what I mean? Discovering Rachel, Richard strikes her and then electrocutes himself to death in the bath, insisting that Samara is evil and that Rachel's actions have put them all in danger, trying to help her, investigating into this whole thing, and yeah, he just wants to put himself out of his misery. He kind of discussed, maybe it's because, he kind of discussed prior to his death that, all these journalists are just bothering him, and he has so much to do. He's so overwhelmed. Noah arrives, and he and Rachel enter the barn, which is where she's supposed to be. She has her bedroom and a loft. They converted it to a bedroom, and they isolate Samara from the outside world. They find an image of a tree behind the wallpaper. Rachel recognizes it as a tree at the Shelter Mountain Inn, so apparently there's a couple locations that have connection with Samara. So, yeah. Rachel returns with Noah to Cabin 12 at Shelter Mountain Inn, where they are led to a well beneath the floorboards, which is from the videotape, and that's where Samara was dropped as a child. Where they threw her down, they suffocated her, and they threw her down the well. They remove the lid, and Rachel is pushed inside. A hand grabs her, and Rachel experiences a vision of Anna choking and dumping Samara into the well, where she survived for 7 days, but she unfortunately passed away. No one was able to save her, which is why the curse happens every 7 days. It literally is like an urban legend, I guess. Samara's body surfaces from the water. After Rachel is rescued from the well, they arrange a proper burial for Samara because no one gave her genuine love in her life. She got adopted, and her parents fucking hated her. But these two tried to help her find peace. You know what I mean? Yeah. Noah tells Rachel that they are now safe as more than 7 days have passed since she watched the tape. She watched the tape. Not him. She watched the tape. She watched the tape. But we know exactly why that happened. I don't know why I pointed to myself. That doesn't make sense. Aiden then warns Rachel that it was a mistake to try to help Samara. Rachel's not going to die, though, because we know that now after we watch the film. But Rachel realizes that Noah's 7 days are up and rushes to save him, but the vengeful ghost of Samara materializes on his television screen, crawls out of it, and kills him. Probably one of the most iconic scenes damn near in horror movie history. And for some reason, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing this scene in this movie either on YouTube or actually might have watched it before. It's just been so long. I have a cousin that used to watch all sorts of these types of movies. Like, she watched Paranormal Activity. She put me onto that. We might have watched The Ring. I mean, we've watched Insidious, all sorts of these demonic films, which I'm not a huge fan of that genre, but I watched a lot of them as a kid, trust me. Rachel finds his disfigured face and returns home to destroy the tape, which is crazy that she didn't go insane as well. Unable to deduce why she was spared, she realizes that the tape seen by Noah and Aiden was a copy she'd created, and in order to save Aiden, he was going to have to make a copy with his finger, his touch. Rachel has Aiden make a copy of the copy to show to someone else, saving him from Samara. So you pretty much have to kill someone else to save your life. That's kind of how the curses go in these type of movies. I think in It Follows, it's like the same way. You have to have like sexual intercourse with someone else and give them the curse, which is kind of fucked up. But hey, whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, let's see what people are saying about this movie. It's a great movie in my opinion. Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 71%, 207 reviews. Obviously, it's a highly critically acclaimed movie. Got a 6.6 out of 10. With a little gore and a lot of creepy visuals, The Ring gets under your skin thanks to director Gore Verbinski's haunting sense of atmosphere and an impassioned performance from Naomi Watts. Yeah, Naomi Watts really helped this movie a lot. Not sure what this movie would be if she wasn't in it. 5.7 out of 10, 36 critics from Metacritic. People thought it was okay, I guess, but I think it's a good-ass movie, and it's probably one of my favorites of this type of horror. B- on Cinema Score. Ebert and Roper gave it a thumbs up. It was very gripping and scary despite some minor unanswered questions about the whole mystery. I mean, that's kind of normal in these type of movies, right? Thumbs down for Roger Ebert, though. It was boring and borderline ridiculous. Roger Ebert does know what he's talking about, okay? He's given bad reviews to a lot of good movies, so... some people didn't like the extended, detailed ending. I like this movie. It's got a great atmospheric setup, cinematography. There are disturbing images, but the film doesn't rely on gore. I guess you could say that, to deliver the scares. Maybe people thought that would have been better for the movie. But most of these demonic horror films don't focus on gore, really. They just focus on the frights, the jump scares. It's dark, disturbing. It's an original film. No one has made a film like this with this concept. At all. It's so crazy. Like, just the legend of it. I don't know if it's based on anything, but yeah. The lack of character development. The direction was great, but people say the character development kind of lacked. I guess I could say that. The film was an utter waste of Watts. I think she played great. I'm just responding to critics here. Perhaps because the script didn't bother to give her a character. They did, though. I don't know. She projects intelligence. I think she projects intelligence to determination, resourcefulness in this movie. I think she's great, but some people will say otherwise. Some people thought this movie was confusing, for all the time the film spends explaining it still doesn't make much sense, which maybe you're just stupid. I don't know, man. Like, that, I don't know. This movie should have won a damn, I mean, I guess movies like this don't win Oscars, but I mean, it won an MTV and a Teen Choice, so, like, it's a pretty good movie. I like this movie. I think everyone should watch it. The Ring 2. There's also Rings, but there's Ring 2. They dropped Ring 2 before Rings. Rings is supposed to be in between the two of those movies, but I don't know. We'll see. If I run out of other movies to watch, I will definitely come back to this sequel and trilogy because, to be honest, I mean, it's a really good movie and it's a franchise I'm very intrigued to learn more about.